Hermitcraft Season 10 live for the evening of Saturday, June 29th, 2024. All right, folks, tonight we are going to be reading Moby Dick, or The Whale, by Herman Melville. You might be familiar with this novel because it is considered, like, I don't know, culturally important and also, like, WTF bonkers. So, you know, that's something to keep in mind. We have been reading Moby Dick a few chapters at a time for several months now. There's a whole playlist of our previous readings that you can find on my YouTube page. I'm going to go ahead and post a link to the current chapter, Sunset, also known as chapter 37. So what we're reading, pinning this link in the Twitch chat, pin link in the Twitch chat, pin link in the YouTube as well, pin link in the Twitch chat, pin link at the gates of hell. Okay, so we have Twitch chat open, we have Discord chat open, we have YouTube chat open. Have I checked out Cub's Labyrinth? Not too closely, because I didn't want to spoil his episode, which just came out today. I strongly recommend y'all go watch that. It's going to be some good stuff. Also, Doc M77's court case was in Doc's video the last half hour from yesterday. Strongly recommend folks go check that out. While we read Moby Dick tonight, we are going to be gathering some more ice in our ice tray. We got the first 5 shulkers worth of ice in, and now we need to do these other 2 walls, which is its own whole thing. So, we're going to do that in a little bit after we gather 5 more shulkers of ice. How hard can that be, right? That's easy. That's not hard. Luckily, the ice has already been forming over here. Blubmaster times 3 loves ice gathering. And also Withers says the court case was so good. Thank you. I am legitimately, I'm not lying, I am really proud of how I managed to pull that off. That was, in my opinion, an apparently unwinnable case. And I think I did pretty good. Even if Doc doesn't appreciate my strategy, I still feel it was the only viable strategy. And I stand by it. So wait, this is Fortune. Wait, where's the other box with the pickaxes in it? Is it in this one? Okay. Wither says, I haven't laughed that hard in a long time. I'm so glad. Welcome, Beautiful Redemption. Welcome, Gusty Gale. So, tonight, we last week saw Captain Ahab, charismatic Ahab, hypnotic Ahab, convince the crew of his true plan to find and kill the white whale, Moby Dick. This is chapter 36 of the novel we read last week. And this is the point where the book starts to kind of make sense. I say that. It's going to veer wildly away from sense for a while, too. But it's only at chapter 36 where Melville has established what the book is actually about. Why is the book called Moby Dick? Well, Ahab has a plan to kill Moby Dick. And he plans to reward any sailor who helps him kill Moby Dick. He has given a rousing speech. He has shared grog from the ship's stores with the men to get them excited about this plan after calling this wild all-hands meeting. And we're going to see what Ahab thinks internally. We've seen his external arguments for killing the whale in chapter 36, the quarter deck. In chapter 37, we're going to move on to Ahab's inner thoughts. And arguably, if chapter 36 is the book that got, or if chapter 36 is the chapter that got the book back on the rails, chapter 37 is wild because Ishmael shouldn't necessarily know what Ahab is thinking. Up until now, this has been a book about Ishmael being a know-it-all. But now Ishmael is nearing omniscience by being able to apparently overhear Ahab's conversation with himself in his cabin, which is a little weird. This whole book is a little weird, I'm going to be honest, but that's where we're going. Let's see, before we start reading, I realize I have not taken down the setting up stream sign because we haven't shared the tip link. If you enjoy readings of Moby Dick or other novels like this, tips are welcome via paypal.me/Joe Hills and YouTube Super Chat. Okay. I feel like we're right here, so we should go toss the ice we have at least into these machines, right? That just seems logical. Okay. So, just as a reminder, any tips that roll in once I've started the chapter, I will not necessarily read immediately. I appreciate your patience, but what we are trying to do here is tell a story together while I shatter a bunch of ice together. Ariah Thallium says, thanks for reading this book to us, Joe. Thank you. I'm glad. I do what I can. I'm having fun. I'm playing Minecraft, everyone. Yeah, I actually just left a Twitch meetup. We haven't had like a Nashville Twitch meetup since before COVID. So this is the first one coming back. And it was cool getting to meet some other streamers from the local community. I might be talking about them a little bit more in time. I didn't actually get everybody's... I need to follow the people that I met so I can raid them in the future. But I didn't get everybody's Twitch URLs at the time, but I can pull it through our local chat group. But yeah, it was good. It was good. Kind of nice seeing things get slowly back to normal. Our Twitch meetups here around here, where it was like Twitch creators, not fans, but just only creators. We used to have like 25 or 30 show up each time. This time was a lot smaller. It was like 6. But it was still good. It was good getting out and talking to some people. I took a nap before the event, and then I didn't have time to get dinner. So this is probably not going to be an especially long stream, because the place where we had the meetup did not have food, and I need to eat at some point. I had some pretzels before the stream, but yeah. I think we're going to do a couple chapters and we're going to wrap up. So here we go. Feel like we've given everybody a chance. If they wanted to get a tip in before we start reading chapter 37, they had their moment. It's past. Gonna do a quick hard refresh though, just in case. Make sure there's nobody we need to thank, because I'm currently down here in slot 9, putting the hot in the hot bar. But that's all right. Chapter 37, Sunset. The cabin by the stern windows. Ahab, sitting alone and gazing out. I leave a white and turbid wake, pale waters, paler cheeks wherever I sail. The envious billows sidelong swell to whelm my track. Let them. But first, I pass. Yonder, by ever-brimming goblet's rim, The warm waves blush like wine. The gold brow plumbs the blue. The diver's sun, slow dive from noon, goes down, and my soul mounts up. She wearies with her endless hill. Is then the crown too heavy that I wear? This iron crown of Lombardy? Yet it is bright with many a gem. I, the wearer, see not its flashings, but darkly feel that I wear that dazzlingly confounds. 'Tis iron. That I know, not gold. 'Tis split, too. That I feel. The jagged edge galls me. So my brain seems to beat against the solid metal. I steel skull mine, the sort that needs no helmet in the most brain-battering fight. Dry heat upon my brow. Oh, time was when the sunrise nobly spurred me, so the sunset soothed no more. This lovely light, it lights not me. All loveliness is anguish to me, since I can ne'er enjoy. Gifted with the high perception, I lack the low enjoying power. Damned most subtly and most malignantly. Damned in the midst of paradise. Good night. Good night. Waving his hand, he moves from the window. 'Twas not so hard a task. I thought to find one stubborn at the least, but my one cogged circle fits into all the various wheels, and they revolve. Or, if you will, like so many ant hills of powder, they all stand before me, and I their match. Oh, hard that to fire others, the match itself must needs be wasting. What I have dared, I have willed, and what I've willed, I'll do. They think me mad. Starbuck does. But I am demoniac. I am madness. Maddened. That wild madness that's only calm to comprehend itself. The prophecy was that I should be dismembered, and I lost this leg. I now prophesy that I will dismember my dismembered. Then, now, be the prophet and the fulfiller one. That's more than ye great gods, e'er were. I laugh and hoot at ye, cricket players, ye pugilists, ye deaf Burks and blinded Bendigos. I will not say as schoolboys do to bullies, take someone of your own size, don't pummel me. No! You've knocked me down, and I am up again. But ye have run and hidden. Come forth from behind your cotton bags. I have no long gun to reach ye. Come! Ahab's compliments to ye. Come and see if ye can swerve me. Swerve me. Ye cannot swerve me, else ye swerve yourselves. Man has you there. Swerve me. The path to my fixed purpose is laid with iron rails, whereon my soul is grooved to run. O'er unsounded gorges, through the rifled hearts of mountains, under torrents' beds, unerringly I rush. Naught's an obstacle, naught's an angle to the iron way. And that concludes chapter 37. Sunset. Let's see, we got some people talking here about, have I read Terry Pratchett? I have read Terry Pratchett, but I can't read Terry Pratchett on stream because it's not public domain. I did enjoy Good Omens as well as many of the Discworld books. Terry Pratchett is a very talented author. Let's see. Pepper Basenji says I got spoiled for my last day of work yesterday. I'm glad that you people sent you off well. Elijah, welcome, welcome. Okay, looks like Mailman Dave in the Discord chat says, those are fighting words, Ahab. You think the gods are listening to Ahab? I guess we'll have to see, huh? Okay, looks like we got our first tip of the stream rolling in as well. Thank you to Kathleen for tipping 20. Let's get that on the abacus here. Kathleen writes, thanks for being here all these years. My husband and I are finally in a place we can start tipping. We really appreciate you. Thank you so much, Kathleen, and to your husband as well. I appreciate y'all. Like, you know, people making stuff for free on the internet for me to enjoy helped me maintain my sanity through college and through paying off educational debt and beyond. It's something that I am so fortunate other people were able to do for me, thanks to the folks who supported them. And I appreciate you supporting me so I can make stuff for free for everyone to enjoy. Thank you, Kathleen, and your spouse. Nova Oak, welcome in the Twitch chat. Glad you could join us. Zentortron says, I think Ahab's looking for a fight of some kind. Yeah, I think he's looking for a fight with a whale. But he's hoping for a slaughter. We'll have to see. Okay. Now, my schedule was thrown way off today. I went out in the midday heat to go shopping for groceries. And I got home. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to make lunch. I'm going to chug a Gatorade, and then I'll lie down for a little bit. And I ended up sleeping for, like, the whole day. I did not expect... I didn't set an alarm. Because I was like, well, you know, I'm just going to sleep for, like, 90 minutes or something. But, like, my body was just like, nope. Nope. So... I am kind of in a weird place where it's like I'm really well rested, which like never happens. I normally don't get this much sleep. But I'm also like my whole day's schedule is completely off. It's one of those things like if you don't plan rest, sometimes it's the same thing as like maintenance on machines and computers. If you don't plan the maintenance, you're going to have the downtime either way. And I put a lot of energy into that recording with, like, preparing for that recording with Doc and Cleo and Skiz and B-Dubs. And, like, my body was just like, no, you're done. Centauratron says, Joe Hill is well rested. That's unheard of. Yeah. But yeah, I didn't have... Oh, wait, I didn't do the face camera expansion for Kathleen. I'm sorry. I was so excited. Thank you. Anyway, please direct your attention down here to slot 9 where I put the hot bar so I can say, howdy, y'all. Grow Hills here, expanding as I always do in Nashville, Tennessee. I was like trying to explain, like, man, I'm really off today. Here's why. It's like, then it's like, oh, I am off today. I am forgetting to expand the camera. But yeah, thank you very much to Kathleen and spouse. But yeah, I was out in the heat, and I was trying to hydrate, and so, yeah. Lady DW says, didn't even think about the face cam. Well, yeah, I forgot about it too. I'm just like, it's been a overwhelming week. We got the good news about my fiance's fiance visa going through, and so I've been spending a lot of time chasing down wedding planning stuff, and we also had this big Hermitcraft recording. I say big, like, you know, it wasn't it wasn't like the whole group, but like I knew that I had to be ready for that. But yeah, thank you again to Kathleen. That puts us now 20 away from the next face camera expansion. Tips are welcome via paypal.me/Joe Hills. And YouTube Super Chat. So you can see the one side of the building in the distance there. We've got 2 sides of the building done. It's being made out of packed ice. We need 99 shulkers worth of ice to make 11 shulkers worth of packed ice. I've got this machine here designed to do that for me, largely, where I can just put a bunch of ice in here. I say that like I know what I'm doing, but whatever. And this makes the packed ice so I don't accidentally double craft it into blue ice, because the way the UI for the crafter works, it's really easy to accidentally craft the same thing twice. Okay. So let's see. We are 20 minutes into the stream. Okay. Some sort of fruit fly or something in here. Sorry. Okay. Part of me is like, well, we should just let more ice form over here. How are we for... Well, I can't see the sun. Oh, there it is up there. Okay. So we're letting more ice form over here. I think we're going to read Chapter 38, Dusk. And then I'm going to take a hydration break because I am not particularly well prepared for this stream. So, here we go. Chapter 38. Oh, I need to update the what we're reading link. What we're reading. Ba-da-na-na-na-na. Pin link. There's already a link pinned. Yeah, we'll replace it. Unpin after. Manually unpinned it in a stream. Project Gutenberg is a standard HTTP or HTTPS server. Any web browser will let you join it. Okay. Revcha says, Joe, if you don't mind me asking, what mod do you use for the third person? We use Hinkle Max's camera utils. But like, I have hacked the config to go further out on the camera than you normally would. But there's the link if you're curious. Okay. It's got dynamic zoom, camera detaching, adjustable third-person distance, customizable third-person perspectives. This mod is not compatible with Optifine. There's a big note on the page. Welcome, Elodie. We're just about to read Chapter 38, Dusk. Now this one, once again, somehow, this is the point in the novel where Ishmael has switched to observing people's inner thoughts, which is either supposition or omniscience. We'll have to see. So, Chapter 38, Dusk of Moby Dick, or the Whale, by Herman Melville. By the mainmast, Starbuck leaning against it. My soul is more than matched. She's overmanned, and by a madman. Insufferable sting that sanity should ground arms on such a field. But he drilled deep down and blasted all my reason out of me. I think I see his impious end, but I feel I must help him to it. Will I, nill I, the ineffable thing has tied me to him, tows me with a cable I have no knife to cut. Horrible old man. Who's over him, he cries. He would be a Democrat to all above. Look how he lords it over all below. Oh. I plainly see my miserable office, to obey, rebelling, and worse yet, to hate with a touch of pity. For in his eyes I read some lurid woe would shrivel me up, had I it. Yet is there hope. Time and tide flow wide. The hated whale has the round watery world to swim in, as the small goldfish has its glassy globe. His heaven-insulting purpose God may wedge aside. I would upheart, were it not like lead. But my whole clock's run down, my heart the all-controlling weight. I have no key to lift again. A burst of revelry from the forecastle. Oh God, to sail with such a heathen crew that have small touch of human mothers in them. Whelped somewhere by the sharkish sea, the white whale is their demogorgon. Hark, the infernal orgies, the revelry is forward. Mark the unfaltering silence aft. Methinks it pictures life. Foremost through the sparkling sea shoots on the gay, embattled, bantering bow, but only to drag dark Gahab after it, where he broods within his sternward cabin, builded over the dead water of the wake, and further on hunted by its wolfish gurglings. The long howl thrills me, though. Peace, ye revelers, and set the watch. Oh, life! 'Tis in an hour like this, with soul beat down and held to knowledge, as wild, untutored things are forced to feed. Oh, life! 'Tis now that I do feel the latent horror in thee. But 'tis not me. That horror's out of me, and with the soft feeling of the human in me. Yet I will try to fight ye, ye grim phantom futures. Stand by me, hold me, bind me. Oh, ye blessed influences. And that concludes Chapter 38 of Moby Dick, or The Whale, by Herman Melville. Mailman Dave says, if Ishmael is the great Gonzo, it is omniscience, and also appends, okay, those were fighting words. Yeah, okay. That's fair. Centauratron, that's the whole point of the book, is how much more interesting whaling ships are than you thought. That's all Melville wanted to share with you, is how much more interesting whaling ships were than you thought. Araya Thallium says that chapter was very dramatic. We're having a dramatic evening here on the Hermitcraft server, reading Moby Dick, or The Whale by Herman Melville. I don't remember exactly which voice I was going to do for Stubbs. Stubbs has, chapter 39 is comparable to the last two, where he's got, Ishmael is describing one person's internal monologue. So I've been doing that in the characters' voices. I think for Stubbs I was going to do the, Wazowski. Let me try this. Let me clear my throat. I've been thinking on it ever since. Yeah, that final consequence. Why? So yeah, I feel like That's distinct enough from the Starbuck kind of deep voice. I mean, if they're not a sponsor, then they're not getting promoted. I don't care what they manufacture. Elijah says, I'm surprised how fast you can collect that ice. Well, I mean, I just spend a lot of time here when I'm, like, on the phone and doing other things. So, like, in fairness, a lot of the ice we collected was off camera. Bum 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 bum. I bum 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 bum. I. The telephone is ringing, so I ripped it off the wall. I got myself all shaven, but I can't make the call. Things couldn't get much worse, but if they could, they would. Bo diddly bum, for the best expect the worst. I hope that's understood, bo diddly bo. Elodie says, I think that Ishmael is bored, so he's making up monologues for people in his diary. Is Ishmael writing fan fiction about the officers of the ship comparable to Barclay building holodeck characters of other Starfleet officers? Discuss. Alexis87 says absolutely yes. Elodie says 100% yes. Mossy Fawn, Zora Ray, and Elodie3 all say yes. I should have probably given you a harder question if I wanted you to actually discuss it. Hey, welcome Gray Pre. Glad you could join us. We are gathering ice to build the other side of the large building. Ishmael is the Barclay of whaling vessels. You know, I almost wonder if you were gonna write... Could you write the story of Star Trek Voyager from the perspective of, like, Harry Kim in a way that basically is just Moby Dick? Gray Prixie says, are you only live on Twitch? Nope, I'm also live on YouTube and joehills.net/live. Smooth Suede says, maybe Ishmael's a shipper in more ways than one. Yeah, he might be sending things via freight. Who knows? Mind of Me says, would Ahab think that Ishmael writing about this is creepy or complimentary? I think Ahab would find Ishmael... I think Ahab would think Ishmael needs to pay more attention to his work. If Ahab has noticed Ishmael individually, I think it's probably to yell at him for not working. Voyager Moby Dick book would be called 7 Years an Ensign. Says Mailman Dave. That's pretty good. Araya Thallium says it feels like it has Tina Belcher's journal, presumably from Bob's Burgers. Elodie says, I think you probably could make that. And Kim would be a good one to pick, too. La da 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 da. Bagirth says, can you please take setting up stream off? Okay, but I'm going to have to go in the other room to do it. So I'll set up the hydration break sign while I go do that. Be right back. I'll go find the switch that lets me take off the setting up stream now sign. It'll be a minute. Okay, it's a multi-step process, but we got it done. Okay, let's see, what were we doing here? We're making ice, but it looks like it's about to be nighttime, so we need to go put that layer heads down and dream over here. Just as a reminder, if you enjoy these Saturday night book reading streams, tips are welcome via paypal.me/showhills and YouTube Super Chat. Elodie, yeah, I was actually thinking Tom Paris would basically be the Queequeg of the Voyager Moby Dick. You know, the guy who played Neelix was actually really good in what's that new sci-fi show? I say new. It's like a few years old now, but it's new to me because it's newer than Star Trek. There's this new sci-fi show called, like, Avenue 5, I think. The idea was, like, Avenue 5 was a, Avenue 5 is like a cruise ship. And the guy who played Neelix is a real life. Well, the idea is that it's like a cruise ship in space, and you're supposed to go like on a tour past the moon or something, but something happens and they end up wildly off course, and it's going to take them like years to get back to Earth. And so Neelix plays this guy who is like the only real astronaut on board, but he was a real astronaut like 20 years ago, and now he just gives lectures and tells stories as like part of the entertainment for the guests. The same actor got Voyagered twice. Yeah, that's what's funny about it. But yeah. So the guy who played Neelix is in there as like a Canadian astronaut. And so it's one of those things where it's like, you know, part of his job to like reassure people that they're not completely screwed, but like they're also completely screwed. This is more like an ice tray than an ice farm. Because, like, you don't normally have to breed the ice. You just let water get cold. Mailman Dave says Ethan Phillips is a great actor. And Centauratron says, I'm still thinking about Muppet Moby Dick. Well, one day, maybe. LOD says, I've never seen Avenue 5. I'll put it on my list. It's pretty good. I really like Hugh Laurie in the show House. And so the premise... So you know how in House, Hugh Laurie has like the New Jersey accent? But he's actually British. So in this show, he he plays the captain of the ship, who is basically a figurehead for the guests. He's not the actual, like, the guy who actually runs the ship is the chief engineer, who dies like 1 minute into the first episode, and which is part of why everybody on the ship is screwed. And so the figurehead captain, played by Hugh Laurie, has this British accent that's meant to sound very commanding and like respectable to the guests. But the part of the joke of the show is that his New Jersey accent is he's actually just from New Jersey, and he's a theater. He was like a dramatist who got hired to play the captain on the ship. And it's Hugh Laurie is always great. He's a very talented actor, and he's great in comedic stuff, obviously. If you've seen a bit of Fry and Laurie. And so yeah, the idea is that you've got like Hugh Laurie, who is the actual captain, but is just a theater kid. You've got the guy who played Neelix, who's an actual astronaut, but like from Canadian spacecraft 25 years ago, not space cruise liners from the modern era. And he has no formal training on any of the ship's systems because he was just there as like an entertainer to keep the guests happy, you know. Like, oh, hey, you know, after lunch we got to talk with everybody's favorite astronaut. You know, stop on by the bar and grab a drink before you hear some fun tales about early Canadian spaceflight, you know, that sort of thing. And so he's like, he knows how, like, old school spacecraft work. He understands the basic principles, but he's trying to, like, deal with, like, a cruise ship, like something out of WALL-E. Yeah, the show is very funny. It's very funny. It's called Avenue 5. Elodie says, I feel like it's like somebody watched Voyager and said, I can make this funnier. Yeah, you're probably not wrong. In the same way that, like, Stargate Universe is like somebody watched Voyager and said, you know, I could make a better show about two factions on a ship really far away. I mean, in my opinion, Stargate Universe is probably the best Stargate Voyager... Or, sorry. Stargate Universe is the best Star Trek Voyager fan fiction anyone's ever done. Because there were a lot of budgetary constraints when they were making Star Trek Voyager, where they couldn't have, like, the ship get permanently damaged episode to episode in ways that were, like, visible, because they couldn't change the model, right? And they couldn't, they had a lot of limitations like that. And they ended up kind of downplaying the break between the Maquis and the Starfleet guys. Everybody really pulled together really quick. Stargate Universe is like, well, so we've got civilian scientists and military people that are both stuck on this spacecraft very far away. And even though they're all part of the same, like, NATO coalition, you know, it's not just Americans, you know, there's Europeans and Canadians and whatnot. But, like, even though, so, like, they're NATO military forces and they're NATO scientists, the scientists and the military people have very different thoughts on how to run this ship. And it's, you know, one of those things where, okay, well, because, like, unlike that's one thing. So in Star Trek Voyager, the ship belonged to Starfleet. It was a military ship. Whereas in Stargate Universe, they escape onto this ship after a disaster in a science facility. So this science facility creates a portal to an alien ship, which then basically blows up the facility, and a bunch of them escape through the portal into the alien ship. And so the civilian scientists and the military people both think, you know, they should be in charge. It's like, well, hey, the scientists were in charge of that other facility, so they should still be in charge now. And it's like, well, this is now a military operation because it's a rescue operation. you know, and the military thinks they should seize power. And so, and like, nobody's completely wrong or completely right. That's what makes Stargate Universe great, is like, so like the scientists aren't necessarily taking the best approach to keeping everybody alive. They're not good at solving problems quickly. They want to solve problems thoroughly. Whereas the military guys are like, we know how to do emergency disaster recovery stuff. Let us do it, right? And so, you know, there's a lot of solid reasons for conflict in the crew. That's not just like everybody's a jerk, you know? It's everybody's trying to figure out how to help the most people the most efficiently, and they have different ideas about how to get there, right? So, anyway. That's my quick pitch for Stargate Universe, which has Joffrey Rush in it, who I think is that his name? No, Joffrey Rush was in... Whoa! 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 There were... Look at all those guys! There were 8 guys hiding behind my machine. Look at all these guys hiding behind my machine. That was a very efficient use of cover and concealment. Ambush, I know, right? Like, that was legitimately, like, that was a good ambush. They were oh, and they're blocking the bed now. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to go really far away in order to use a different bed because it's about to be nighttime. But yeah, sorry. Rush was the name of the character. Joffrey Rush is the name of the guy from... Not Matchstick Men. The one with the bowler. Oh my gosh, I am blanking on a lot of things tonight. Mobs are getting smarter. La da 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 da. Robert Carlyle, that's his name. Robert Carlyle plays one of the lead scientists, and he's a very, very talented Australian actor. He's great. I really enjoyed him in Once Upon a Time as well as Rumpelstiltskin. He was the only reason I watched Once Upon a Time, or the reason I gave it a chance. They're singing happy birthday, you just wanna lay down and die. Who needs another birthday but 3090? Why can't you stay 29? Heck, you still feel like you're 22. Turn 30, 1990, boom, you're passe. What can you do? What can you do? Boom, boom. Yeah, I'm just gonna gather some ice. Ice. Elodie says it's my birthday in 2 hours. Well, good news. You're not turning 30 in 1990. Julia Loves Music says, I love that song. Surprising no one, given the name Julia Loves Music. And also asks, is that 3090 from Tick Tick Boom? Probably not. It's probably A Friend Like Me from Aladdin. It took me a while to come up with that lie. Lyric Cat says, it's my birthday for 2 more hours. Feliz cumpleaños, Sati. Feliz cumpleaños, Sati. Feliz cumpleaños, Leary Cat. Feliz cumpleaños, Sati. Y muchas más. Julia Loves Music says, my mistake, they just sound similar. Yeah, I could see why. Bienvenidos, Victor Flores. Glad you could join us. Well, Alibaba had the 1,000 thieves. Sherazada had 1,000 tales. No, wait, it's Alibaba had his 40 thieves. Sherazada had 1,000 tales. La da 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 da. Moby Dick was a whale. La da da. Mr. Aladdin, sir, tell me what you need. Just don't turn 30, not right now, not in 1990. Da 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 da. La da 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 da. Okay, so we got some extra ice here. Let's go get a count on where we are with the ice. So we need about 6 more shulkers. She Banshees, I feel like I really phoned it in. So that sometimes I think I nailed it. That was not the case here. You are definitely sucking up if you think that was a good job. That was not a good job. Okay, so we got 2 pickaxes down. The other thing I do want to do, actually, is we do still need to clear out. We're nowhere near having enough ice to actually move forward here. But we do need to go chop down the back, or the, top 10 Y levels of that mountain there. But yeah, also, just as a reminder, we are coming up on the 1 hour mark on the stream. Tips are welcome via paypal.me/JoeHills and YouTube Super Chat. Okay. I think I should probably eat a baked potato. Baked potato. Is this ice for the walls? Yes. So as you can see, we've got 2 of the walls in. This one and that one. So it took about 5.5 shulkers of ice to do these 2 walls. So we need another 5.5 shulkers of ice to do the other 2 walls. We don't need to remove this whole mountain at once, but we do need to remove the parts that are going to poke over the thing. Shabanshi says, I'm new to the stream as of this week. Can somebody tell me what the Photoshop overlay is? That is the build. This is the whole build of what we're working on. I'm on top of the mountain inside the building in the middle of it. But the oval roads and stuff you can see out there are part of this same thing. So you see the lagoon on the map there? Matches the lagoon I've got here. Dr. Shark says, were you paid for your lawyer service? I was. So Shabanshi, give me a second. Let me get you a link so that you can look. This map is actually a really cool survey. People worked really hard to make the map that I'm working from. So I'm going to link it in the This is a good enough map that it's hosted proudly by the Library of Congress. Okay. Just checking my phone real quick. Cool. Looks like we're all good on everything. Let's remove a lot of blocks. All the stone is made of rocks. Sometimes the pickaxe talks and it says, oh boy, I need a mending. Can we meet some Enderman and you can sweep an edge at them? And I'm like, wow, man, your voice is really high. Gotta lay off the helium. Wah, ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 do do do. La da 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 dee dee dee. Dee 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 dee. Ba da ba bum, ba da ba bum. Okay, so while we're mining this all out, I should probably actually read the relatively short chapter 39, the first night watch. Like the other two chapters we have read so far tonight, chapter 39 is a point of view chapter from the point of view of somebody that Ishmael should not be inside the brain of. So the book went wildly back on the rails for one chapter to explain what the plot of the book was. And now has gone wildly off the rails by going from first-person limited to, like, third-person omniscient. I don't even know. We should probably link that new chapter here in the what we're reading pin link. Reading. La da dee 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 la da do 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 do. What starter do I go for? Well, the first time I played Pokemon, I picked Charizard. Okay. Okay. Oh, hey, we got a tip rolling in from Tyson. Thank you very much, Tyson, for supporting the arts and my work in particular. Tip in $25 US. Boom. That's going to get us 5 past our next Face Gamer expansion milestone. Please direct your attention down here to the lower left because I'm about to expand. Joe. Da 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 da. Yay. Thank you, Tyson. Tyson writes, put this to the pro bono work in the future. That case with Doc was epic. Thank you, Tyson. Thank you. So here's the thing, is Doc didn't offer to pay me up front. He just asked me to defend him. And I knew it was an almost unwinnable case. And that's why I was willing to do it for free. I was willing to do the case pro bono as long as Doc didn't try to tell me a strategy. Basically, the second where Doc started like dictating strategy to me, I was going to start charging him. I was basically like, Doc, if I do this the way I want to do it, I think it's going to really help me in the long term with my legal career. I don't generally encourage people to work for exposure, but this is a big, high-profile case that looks unwinnable. And I feel like my performance defending you the way I want to defend you will pay off. Defending you the way you want to be defended will not. So you got to pay me at that point. What's the best Minecraft mob? I think the Yakuza. I like that they're in favor of cutting off people's fingers as a show of loyalty. I feel like that's the sort of thing that, you know, the Minecraft mobs that both add and subtract are the best. Like the creeper is scary because it'll blow you up, but it's also scary because it will destroy things, you know? Like going for that finger is I think a really good choice. Mind of Me says, it's like that graphic design meme. If I design it the way I want to, it's $100. If you work with me to design it, it's $1,000. I genuinely feel like I was not messing with Doc as my goal during the court. My goal was to win. And I felt like it was going to be impossible to win without also insulting Doc. I felt like that was what B-Dubs' TV cameras needed. Like, no, Doc clearly needed to be humbled in the eyes of the home audience. And I felt like maybe if I did a good enough job of humbling my client in the eyes of the audience, that Cleo's case would seem extravagant, wasteful. right? You know? So, I will say, I've seen people be like, was Joe just doing this to be a jerk to Doc? No, but the only way to have a chance at winning was to be a jerk to Doc. I'm fully ready to acknowledge I was a jerk to Doc during this case, but that was the only chance he had. He wanted me to win. I am gonna go for the winning strategy. That's me. That's the, you know, you hire Joe Hills to win a legal case for you. I will take the winning course every time. I'm not worried about your feelings. If you want to hire somebody worried about your feelings, oh my gosh, we're all sociopaths. I was going to say hire, and then I started like mentally spooling through the names of hermits. And I'm like, no. Oh my gosh. Is there a hermit that cares more about Doc's feelings than winning in this situation? I don't think Stress would have. I think Stress would have been like, look, buddy, if we don't make you look like an idiot here, you're going to lose. I don't know. I don't know if any hermit... I'm not talking about feelings in general. I'm talking about Doc's feelings. Are there any hermits that would prioritize Doc's feelings over trying to win in this situation? I don't think they would have necessarily been as... taken the same exact strategy as me. Elodie says maybe Ren would have. Yeah, maybe. I really hope that whoever gets accused of being the Oar Snatcher hires me. I have started building a defense. I have started constructing a defense. Which is very challenging when you don't know who is actually guilty. But I really hope whoever is accused comes to me. My guess is that it's Cub Fam. So I sent Cub the message the other day saying, hey, Cub, you know, I know I didn't, you know, I'm not sure if you caught this trial the other day, but just so you know, if you end up being sued by Doc in the future, I don't only work for Doc. I'm happy to defend you. Here's a rough strategy that I have. You know, you don't have to... Honestly, you know, I don't expect you to respond to this now, but if you are accused, falsely or correctly, of being the Oar Snatcher, here's how I'm going to deal with that. So, I have let Cub know that he has the option of hiring me. I have no interest in serving as the prosecution. Mind of Me says the mark of a good defense attorney is that your defense doesn't rely on the person's guilt or innocence. Well, that's the thing is, like, I don't need somebody to pay me to do this job. I just want to do it because it's fun. That is basically public defender at that point. Like, I figured... I didn't expect Doc to pay me. He gave me a diamond block later. But I was not expecting it. Okay. So yeah, we got kind of distracted talking about the courtroom stuff. Let's go ahead and drop off these things down here. And then we can swing back up there and do some more reading. Well, Doc never asked me about my chosen argument, which admittedly I probably wouldn't have told him if he asked. I would have said, like, look, man, if you want to micromanage this, you got to pay me more. Is Doc allowed to talk to people? Yeah, people can go visit Doc. That's considered, what is that? Like, visiting the imprisoned and caring for the ill are considered, oh, there's a word for this. What is the word for the thing? It's not virtue. It's, if I just Google this. Care for the sick. Visit the imprisoned. Corporal works of mercy. Yeah, feed the hungry, give drink to the thirsty, shelter the homeless, visit the sick, visit prisoners, bury the dead, give alms to the poor. Yeah. These are considered like things that people should do in general. Anybody that tries to prohibit people from doing those things is probably a bad person. And that's one of the reasons like a lot of this border patrol stuff has blown up. Because trying to tell people it's illegal to provide water to people who are going to die of dehydration otherwise is like so antithetical to basic human ethics. It's not a way to live. Hey, welcome, Lyme, New Hampshire resident. That was a weird conversation to join in the middle of. What, you think it's weird that I think people should be allowed to give other people water who are dying of dehydration? I feel like that's my point. This is baseline humanitarian action. This is fundamental human merciful behavior. Welcome the gamer. Michael the gamer. Yeah. Like telephone is ringing. So I ripped it off the wall. Anyway, we're about to read chapter 39, First Night Watch. Before we do, though, just as a reminder, if you are enjoying this stream, tips are welcome via paypal.me/JoeHills and YouTube Super Chat. If you enjoyed my courthouse hijinks, just as a reminder, if I was working a day job, I would not have been able to record at that time with the other hermits. Y'all who support the streams, like the episodes that I publish on YouTube, my YouTube ad revenue is less per month than I spend on health insurance. It is abysmal. YouTube ad revenue is not livable for somebody working at my scale. It is y'all who support me on Patreon and PayPal that allow me to take time in the middle of the day to record stuff like that courtroom segment. And so if you would like to support the show, tipping and Patreon are the best ways to do it, and I deeply appreciate it. Okay. PhD Shark says, and to be on at this hour. Well, No, I mean, I could stream at this time if I had a day job or not. Streaming at this time with a day job is no problem because this is the middle of this is nighttime after work. What I'm saying is I wouldn't be able to record and stream in the middle of the day to do the like because the doing the like multinational collaborations, those all happen in the middle of the American workday. Trying to record with sorry, not PhD. Your name's PhD. Trying to record with B Dubs. He's an American. He could hop on the server late, right? But for Cleo and Ren and Doc, like they're 6 to 8 hours ahead of us, right? It's so they don't want to record now because now is 3 a.m. their time. Like, if you could look back at my seasons of Hermitcraft before I was able to quit my day job, like, there weren't a lot of collabs with the hermits who weren't from America, because the hermits who weren't from America are asleep when I can be online. Okay. Chapter 39, Night Watch. First Night Watch. Foretop, Stub, Solus, and Mendon, a brace.
Ha ha ha. Clear my throat. I've been thinking over it ever since, and that's the final consequence. Why so? Because a laugh's the wisest, easiest answer to all that's queer, and come what will. One's comfort is always left. That unfailing comfort is, it's all predestinated. I heard not all his talk with Starbuck, but to my poor eyes Starbuck then looked something as I the other evening felt. Be sure the old mogul has fixed him too. I twigged it, I knew it, and had the gift might readily have prophesied it. For when I clapped my eye upon his skull, I saw it. Well, Stub, wise Stub, yes, that's my title. Well, Stub, what of it, Stub? Here's a carcass. I know not all that may be coming, but be it what it will, I'll go to it laughing. Such waggish leering as lurks in all your horribles. I feel funny. Vala Liraskira. Where's my juicy pear doing at home now? Crying its eyes out, giving a party to the last arrived harpooneers. I dare say gay as a frigate's pennant, and so am I. Vala Liraskira. We drink tonight with hearts as light, to love as gay and fleetin', as bubbles that swim on the breaker's brim, and break on the lips when meetin'. A brave stave that who calls. Mr. Starbuck, aye, sir. He's my superior. He has his too, if I'm not mistaken. Aye, sir. Just through with this job. Coming.
And that was chapter 39 of Moby Dick by Herman Melville, featuring Stubbs' little internal monologue. So, Stubbs having his own problems with Ahab, recognizes Starbucks, but they're not friends. So I don't know if it's going to help. What do you think? Skulking Gas says, how are you reading and playing? I mean, I'm not doing complex stuff. I'm just putting things in chests and mining. It's like basically... keep in mind, too, I read the chat and play all the time. Speaking of reading things, we got a tip from Roberta for 35. Thank you, Roberta. The first 5... Wait, no, sorry. The first 15 gets us one face camera expansion milestone. The second 20 gets us a second. Here we go. Expand the Joe DD. So thank you very much, Roberta. Numero dos. Even larger Joe. Even larger Joe. Here we go. Here we go. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah. So thank you very much, Roberta. Tips are welcome via paypal.me/JoeHills and YouTube Super Chat. That puts us now 20 even away from the entrance of the Joust. Tommy Gunn says, Of Mice and Men is my favorite book of all time. You know, that's actually one that wasn't in my high school curriculum, and I just never got around to it. I really should. I'd rather read that solo than on stream. So the books I've read on stream are usually books in the public domain that I read a few years ago and am coming back to. Like, I had read Dracula maybe 8 years before I started reading it on stream. So it's like, it wasn't fresh in my mind, but like, I kind of knew what to expect. I tried reading Don Quixote completely blind, and I did not know that Don Quixote was the Bruce Campbell versus the Army of Darkness of novels. I did not realize how violent. Like, Don Quixote is comedically violent. It's like gushers of blood when they cut off the guy's arm violent. It's like out of Monty Python stuff. It's like hyper graphic violence in Don Quixote. And I was like, you know what? Maybe this is not appropriate for reading on Twitch. I'm not fully comfortable with this. So yeah, I went back to only reading things I had already pre-read. I read Moby Dick a few years back, and I am reading it again for the first time in several years. So that's the thing, is I'm not like really rehearsing for these or practicing, but I do find it's good to do books I've done at least once before, and since I haven't read Of Mice and Men at least once, I would want to read it on my own first. Looks like we got another tip rolling in. Queen Dark Lady says, I would say Of Mice and Men is not Twitch safe. Gusty Gale says, Of Mice and Men is so sad. Yeah, so maybe that's not the upbeat story about a few blokes going out and harpooning whales or stabbing Draculas. Yeah, basically we only read books about impaling here. Let's see what other. We got another tip rolling in. Let's see who it's from. We got 10 from LOD. Thank you, LOD, who says some funds for the public defender. Hopefully you get to defend the Ore Snatcher too. I would like that. Tips are welcome via paypal.me/JoeHills and YouTube Super Chat. That puts us 10 away from the entrance of the Joust. There once was a ship that pushed to sea. The name of the ship was the Billy O.T. I broke blocks and I fell down, and then this rocket blowed. Kendersite says, to stay on theme, what other classics involve impaling? That's a great question. Arguably, the Iliad by Homer. The problem with the Iliad is that the version of the Iliad that I like most, in terms of the translations, is not going to be in the public domain for a while. And the public domain translations I don't love. I mean, they're not terrible, but like, there's a reason we have more modern translations than those. You know what I mean? Dante's Inferno has a similar problem. There's a... I would like to read, if I was going to read Dante's Inferno, the version that I would want to read only came out about 25 years ago, I think. So it's not going to be in the public domain until I'm close to retirement. So we'll read that later. It's going in the back of the queue. That's the thing, is I'm looking, like, with the Iliad one, I'm like, well, this will be in the public domain before I retire, so I'll just come back to it in a few decades. Bum, 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 bum. I'm removing all of the blocks that are in the way. Domo. Domo. John Smith, I'm not sure if that's a typo or an acronym, but I don't know what you mean by the Eddas. Have I read Frankenstein? I have. I didn't want to do Frankenstein right after Dracula because I didn't want people to be like, and now you're going to read all the Universal monsters, right? I mean, I love the Universal monsters. The Monster Bash pinball machine is one of my favorites, but, you know, I didn't want to go... I didn't want to kind of narrow the focus too much. I wanted to keep this kind of open-ended. Elijah says, what would it take for something to not be in the public domain? Being published recently. If something's very old, it's in the public domain. You know, another book I considered reading was Utopia, because a lot of people are familiar with the concept of a utopic society, but a lot of people haven't read Utopia by Thomas More. I read that a few months ago personally, and I'm not sure it's a great fit for the stream, but I think it is worth encouraging people to read. Is one whale enough of a gap between Frankenstein and Dracula? It is an exceptionally large mammal. If I was going to pick a mammal to go between Frankenstein and Dracula, that'd probably be the one I chose. But no, I'm not sure, actually. I don't know if it's enough. I'm not promising Frankenstein after this. I think Frankenstein belongs in the queue, but I don't think Frankenstein belongs at the front of the queue. I feel like we need to establish a broad base of things to kind of set expectations. I fell out. Tommy Gunn says, I'm looking for a good book, so Utopia is a good one. Well, it's an interesting one. I would argue that Utopia is one of the most influential books from that time period. Like, Sir Thomas More's work on Utopia inspired an entire... Everything in cyberpunk stems from dystopias. Like, huge branches of science fiction. So you might read Utopia and be like, well, this isn't really that interesting. But at the time, it was completely out there, right? Like, it was world-changing when it was written, but it would seem maybe boring to you because you'd be like, oh, I've seen all of these concepts in other books, right? So I can't promise you it's an interesting book to you. I cannot promise that. It's an interesting book to me because I like seeing how things evolve. But it's also, yeah, it's a hard sell, I'm going to tell you. It's a strange book. It's written as this guy who has been very well traveled to the New World, coming back and sharing information about a basically like perfect society. But like there's a lot of weird stuff with the framing of it. There's a lot of problems with it too. So like one of the problems with me reading the book, one of the reasons I don't want to read the book on stream is because Sir Thomas More felt like England was heavily overusing the death penalty. And so he talks a lot about how wasteful the death penalty is in the book because slave labor is a much better use of a prisoner's time. And I don't love coerced labor. I like the death penalty very little, though. So I understand Sir Thomas More was just, like, trying to make a logical case to end the death penalty in England. But I don't want to sit there and read a bunch of arguments in favor of forced labor for several hours either. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes stuff that's progressive at the time in one way or another is not progressive later because the world has moved on. But, like, the problem was it was basically impossible for someone to argue against the death penalty in England at that time. And they were going nuts with the death penalty. They were killing people for anything. and crime was still a huge problem. And they were like, if we just keep killing all the criminals, but like but basically the book is about how like, well, most of the problems we have in England are because of wealth distribution. And if there are people who are still real criminals even after we fix wealth distribution, then we can have them do forced labor instead of killing them. And if they behave well and learn from their mistakes, they can go free later. Which is an argument, right? Like, I understand why Thomas More is making this argument in this book. But once again, it's not something that I want to sit there and read for hours at a time. Ken Dreadful says, would you consider reading philosophical texts? The problem with philosophical texts is a lot of the best philosophical texts were not originally written in English, and the translations of them that I would want to use are going to be recent enough that they're not in the public domain. Otterwater says, I mean, we still haven't really moved on from the death penalty entirely. I mean, we have more death penalty than I would like, for sure. But we have less than they did in England when Thomas More was writing. There was a lot of death penalty. It was the default solution back then, which is why he was writing so much about it. So I'm not saying that we have solved this problem, but we've at least tried some other things. Which version of the Iliad do I particularly recommend? Asked Naomi. W.H.D. Rouse. The version of the Inferno that I read back in 2005, I'd have to go dig up. It was years ago that I read Dante. Yeah. No, it would have been 2003. But it was a relatively new translation. It was like a post turn of the millennia translation of Dante. So there's no way it's in the public domain yet. Do I have a certain genre I'd want to read from? I want to read things that were impactful and influential in interesting ways. And so a lot of times the reasons that the classics are classics is because they were impactful and influential. Like I said, Utopia by Thomas More is one of the most impactful books on science fiction in history. It's an amazingly impactful book, but it's not... So I want to read things that are impactful, but also things that are fun. There's no way Stanley Kubrick's work is in the public domain, so that would not be appropriate for the stream. How do I feel about extending copyright protection? Please don't. Stop. Don't extend copyright protection, thanks. Stop in the name of not extending copyright protection before you break my heart. Stop in the name of not extending copyright protection before you... Okay, so I think we're at the same Y level, at least, as that. That looks like the same Y level, so this shouldn't be peeking out over the top anymore. Overon says, in the last year I read Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep and Neuromancer. I believe those are both Philip K. Dick novels, if I'm not mistaken. His stuff is pretty interesting. Okay. We still have that sticking up, but we don't have, like... And the part that was right there. Having things in the deep background, not as much of a concern. But okay, so let's go find a beacon we can lay our heads down and dream on. Okay, we are at the 90-minute mark as we lay our heads down and dream. If you are enjoying the show or you enjoyed my participation in Doc's trial this week, please consider tipping. Oh, it is William Gibson. Thank you, Olveron. Sorry. Yeah, sorry about that. Not 100%. Could I expand my range by reading a public domain classic children's book? Honestly, I don't know if that's of interest to me or the others here. It would depend on the children's book, I guess. Okay, so these trees actually do need to be cut down because they are inside of the range of the thing. Where's my axe? Tommy Gunn says, why, Doc, do I miss things? I've been busy at work. Well, Doc's trial video, I defend Doc in a apparently unwinnable case in the last last half hour of his latest video. Let me see if I can find where this case starts. Share, start at, copy. Doc M 77 trial. Yeah, I defend Doc to the death. No, I just defend him. And we'll replace our Moby Dick pin because chapter 40 is like a really challenging chapter, and we're gonna save that for a thing. But yeah, if I had to still work a day job, I would not have been available to record that. So people who tip during the streams are the ones that make this possible. Yeah, you can take a break. We're done reading Moby Dick for the night, so if you want to just go watch Doc's trial, you can. People are saying 10 more years until copyright for The Hobbit expires. Okay, well, it's 2014 now. No, it's 2024 now. And I started streaming in 2008. So, what is that? 2024 minus 2008. That's like 16 years. Yeah. I mean, I'm planning on doing this, and I was going to say until I retire. But, like, once I retire, I'm going to keep streaming. I just probably won't ask for money anymore. And I might not have as fixed a schedule. But no, I really like streaming. It's a lot of fun. So yeah, I'm planning on streaming for another 60 or 70 years maybe. And so yeah, I feel like a lot of these books we're talking about, people are like, do this book. I'm like, look, I'll get to it when it's the right time. It's just not the right time yet. Centauratron says, would you do something like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea or Around the World in 80 Days? Though, yeah, Jules Verne is definitely higher up on my list for consideration for future stuff. Okay. So we probably need to set up a proper beacon. Yeah, Ken Dreadful, don't ask people their ages. That creates legal problems for Twitch. Don't. It's like super serious. I'm not joking. So I'm gonna time you out to remove that message. I know you didn't mean any harm by it, but yeah, you cannot ask people ages in Twitch. Because then I have to do a bunch of paperwork and ban people. Okay. So we got to extend the apron out here. We got to get the back porch going. So next time Cub logs in at the entrance to his labyrinth over here. What does the sign say? Probably under construction. Labyrinth coming soon. Yeah. So from his entrance, though, you can now see the building go in. And you can't see any mountains poking out on top of it from there. That's a good start, honestly. That's huge, having made it this far. LOD says Great Gatsby is public domain now. I've considered The Great Gatsby. Tommy Guns, I don't think you watched the entire trial in 4 minutes. But the labyrinth is where a parking lot was, right? Yeah. Yep, so one of the parking lots is now a labyrinth. And so the exit of the labyrinth is actually going to be over here. So it looks like Cub's got half of his labyrinth zone done. I need to build the entrance to the building over here. Should probably go cut down this stuff up here. Bum 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 bum. Da 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 da. La da 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 da. Ba 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 ba. Would I ever visit Bell Labs IRL? I would absolutely visit this place IRL. If I had known I was going to do this last time I drove through New Jersey, I would have stopped there. Would I read The Count of Monte Cristo aloud? Maybe. That is kind of in the lane of what I'm going for. Yeah, so this is still, because of this, that's still going to kind of peek out there a little bit. That's not as bad. The pumpkins are just so stupid, though. Look at that's where the fountain used to be. Those pumpkins and these markers here used to rest on top of the mountain leading up to there, and now it's gone. Shalalai, 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 the end is drawing near. We're treading water now and holding back our tears. La da 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 da, la da 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 da. But yeah, I really enjoyed reading Edgar Allan Poe stuff. Maybe something longer of Poe's might be something to come back to. So we're on chapter 40 of Moby Dick, and Moby Dick has 135 chapters, and then an epilogue. So we're about a third of the way. We're about a third of the way through Moby Dick, and we've just now found out what the story is about. I mean, some of you guys know about it because it's in the zeitgeist or whatever, but like, yeah. It's kind of one of those things like, Wow, good job, Melville. Glad we got to the point real soon with this novel of yours. But hey, it looks like we got a tip rolling in. Let's see who it's from. It's from Janet. Janet tips 15 and says, "Howdy, Joe." Well, thank you very much, Janet. We were 10 away from the next Face Gamer expansion milestone. Now we are 5 past. Y'all have seen that money go straight to my head with each Face Gamer expansion milestone we hit. But now, like Jacob Marley, these chains I forged in life are about to begin pulling me down to the deep below. Enter the Jost. Bum, 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 bum. Lowering the Joe Passy now to 90%. Thank you very much to Janet. That puts us 15 away from the next Face Gamer expansion milestone. Tips are welcome via paypal.me/Joe Hills and YouTube Super Chat. Gusty Gale writes, "Is there a place we can download the Zeitgeist?" Arguably, Wikipedia has a does Wikipedia still let you download it? There used to be a thing on Wikipedia where you could download the whole thing for offline. But that was like maybe back in like 2002, 2003. I'm not sure if they still do that. La da 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 da. Ay. Yeah, I'm really excited about Cub's Labyrinth. I've avoided going over there too much because I kind of want to experience it for the first time. Like, I kind of want to do a run of it. NJ, howdy, NJ. NJ writes, "Howdy, Joe and Pipes." Well, glad to see you here, NJ. We are having a fantastic Saturday. So, NJ, remember that Twitch meetup that I told you about? Where I was like, oh, I completely forgot about this. I'm glad we're talking about it because it would have fallen off my radar. I totally woke up from a nap 20 minutes into it, hopped in the shower, and rushed over there as quick as I could. Stuck around for like 40 minutes and then had to rush over here. But it was the brief time I was there was very fun. I absolutely nailed it. Yes, you're right. You're right. I'm the best at what I do. Hey, I made it out there. But the problem was I spent all my energy today walking to the grocery store, and it's really hot out. And then I made lunch, and then I was like, I'm just going to lay down. I've had lunch. I chugged a Gatorade. I just need to recover from being out in the heat. And then when I woke up, it was 6:20, and the meetup started at 6, and I hadn't had dinner, which I still haven't had. I'm going to have dinner after this. I've had some pretzels. But you know what? The important thing is I went to the grocery store. I have been putting off going to the grocery store because it's hot out. And today, it was hot out, but I went anyway. What did I have for lunch? Ooh, great question. I had got fresh rolls and some smoked Gouda from the grocery store. And I had some brats. Yeah, so I cooked bratwurst, fresh roll, and mustard and Gouda. Yeah. And I had a Gatorade. And a lot of water. I had so much water. It was really hot. And then I was like, wow, that took a lot out of me. I should lie down. The problem is when I eat, because of my digestive stuff, I get really tired. I don't normally fall asleep for that long tired, but I can't just like eat before a stream and then have energy to do the stream. I need to manage my symptoms. So it's not me being wildly irresponsible. It's me being in a situation where I have to make trade-offs. And whether or not people agree with those trade-offs, these are choices that I have to make because of my weird digestive problems, you know? Like, you know, somebody might, you know, say like, oh, hey, you'd be healthier if you ran 3 miles a day. And it's like, well, that's probably not terrible advice, but if they're trying to give that advice to Scar, that would not be acceptable. Yeah, like the ways that I prioritize my meal times and other people prioritize their meal times are going to be limited by my ability to digest food. That's just that's where we are at on that. Elodie says, I hope the post-stream dinner is nice. It'll probably be another bratwurst. The thing is, the fresh rolls, so, like, the fresh rolls come in a pack of 4, and, like, they're really good, but they go stale because they're, like, fresh baked, right? You know? So it's like, when I buy a pack of 4 fresh rolls, and I don't have my daughter or my fiance here to help me eat them, it's like my next few meals are going to be all stuff that's served in fresh rolls because otherwise they won't be fresh rolls anymore. I'll tell you that. Yeah. Elijah says, if it's not too personal, is this something that developed later or were you born with this? There were early signs of this my entire life, but it didn't really start asserting itself continuously until I was doing my military training for ROTC, because the amount of food that I was required to eat in order to do the exercise that we were required to do, like, just kind of overwhelmed my body, and it was real bad. It took a while for the doctors to figure out what was going on too, because they thought that it must be something respiratory. They thought I must have asthma, and the exertion of doing all the exercise was what was causing me the problems. So they were putting me on all these things that were actually making my digestive problems worse, trying to solve pulmonary problems that didn't exist. And so, yeah, this got really bad my sophomore year of college. I spent a while on bed rest, like barely able to, like I could get up to go to the bathroom, and like if somebody like walked me to the dining hall, I could get there and back, but like it was not great. Hello, wandering trader. I don't really need anything from you right now, and Jev isn't on mine, so I'm gonna leave it be. But yeah, the better I, you know, Etho, good evening. If you happen to need any stone, I could always more verdant frog lice. No, I'm not gonna bother him yet. He's back from the island. I hope you had a fun island vacation. Okay, And he's gone. He's back. Well, it was fun while it lasted, people. Oh my gosh. I'm glad I didn't bother him about the frog lights. He would. Oh my gosh. Welcome, Eric Lidlod. Maybe it was all a dream. Yeah. He came back. Oh gosh, I was not ready for that. This is the joy of playing with other people. Is like we all do so like ZF with those 2 dots the other day when he was trying to make a smiley face and it was just eyes. I was like, ZF is a comedic genius. This is the best possible response to this. Just 2 eyes. It's like maybe the real Etha was the islands we made along the way. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I love playing with so many cool people. This is a lot of fun. We need to, whoops. To lay our heads down and dream here. ZF is a comedic genius, but yeah. Oh gosh. Let's see, we are about 10 minutes away from wrapping up the stream. I know sometimes we like to celebrate Saturday night being a weekend by going a little bit long. But like I said, I still need to go make my dinner, which I am actually pretty excited about. So tips are welcome via paypal.me/JoeHills and YouTube Super Chat. Welcome, Loon. I hope you're doing well. Okay. I mean, this has been a... Wait, did we put the potatoes away, or was that the last potato? We might have to go back and get the more potatoes. Did I drop the potatoes somewhere? Mantic Egg says, glad I wasn't wearing my headphones or my brain would have exploded. I didn't think I was that loud. I'm sorry. Okay, my bad. But yeah, if you have enjoyed the show, we are wrapping up on the half hour so I can grab dinner. But I appreciate everybody hanging out. Otter says, that was an earned laugh. It was hilarious. Yeah, Etho, pretty funny guy. Pretty funny guy. So, yeah, from here, can we see some of the stuff we removed? Yeah, we can see that, like, I've shaved off the top of that mountain, so it's not extending over that. That part still extends a little bit, but it's not as noticeable as it was. That bit back there is higher than the wall, but it's also outside of the thing. I mean, I think we're gonna need to pull all this down. This is all gonna have to go, but we also need to go repair our gear. Did Etho rejoin? Yeah, Etho rejoined. Maybe he just like realized it wasn't in the right Minecraft instance or something. Yeah, so this here feels like it's a little bit over that. So yeah, all of this will have to be removed ultimately. Etho is also a comedic genius. Yes, I'm glad you noticed. Oh boy. I've had a lot of fun tonight. I hope y'all have too. Okay, so just as a reminder, next Saturday we are taking off because I am going to be at PlayOnCon where I run the table flipping contest and the Minecraft build contest. And it is not really plausible to stream from PlayOnCon. I've tried before. It's a nightmare. So we're not gonna. So even though I've got some gear for on location streaming, PlayOnCon is in the middle of the woods in Alabama, and there's a lot of network problems. Consistently every year they're like, guys, we upgraded the internet and the network, and then every year it's like, this is technically better, but it's not functionally like, it's an observable improvement, but it's not a meaningful improvement, right? You know what I mean? The difference between an observable improvement and a meaningful improvement is pretty broad sometimes. So I'm going to be at PlayOnCon. I'm looking forward to hanging out with some of y'all there. I know there's at least 4 or 5 viewers who are going to be hanging out. We're going to be playing some Clank, going to be playing some Hermitcraft TCG. Should be a lot of fun. So in the future, when I'm doing stuff on the road like that, I'm going to be trying to do streams with viewers as like a live audience. But once again, PlayOnCon is just uniquely poorly suitable for that. So I'm not even going to make the attempt. I have accepted the limitations of the venue, and I'm not going to stress about it. But in the future, I'm hoping to do more stuff from the road. But yeah, so next Saturday, no Moby Dick. I'm going to be off the 4th of July because it's a federal holiday anyway. I'm going to be off the 5th of July because I'm at PlayOnCon 6th and 7th. I will be back on Sunday for the nighttime stream. I should be back from PlayOnCon by the evening of Sunday the 8th, I believe. So I will be here to chat with y'all and hang out and have a good time. In the meantime, my upcoming week is looking pretty normal, I think. We'll have some morning streams, we'll have some evening streams for the first half of the week. It's only really Thursday and beyond that things are going to drop off. But since y'all are my Saturday night crowd and I'm skipping the next Saturday, I do feel like I should let you know. Just as a reminder, there is a calendar of my upcoming streams at joehills.net/soon. Okay, so have we done last call for tips? I don't think I actually said last call. So we're going to do last call for tips. If you enjoy the show and you want to demonstrate that, or if you're like, Joe, this show would be much better if you took more time off, go to PlayOnCon and have fun and don't stress out. It's always easier for me to not stress out if I'm slightly financially better off. So tips are welcome via paypal.me/joehills and YouTube Super Chat. Night, Yazzie Wolf. Lay your head down and dream. Okay, we're going to go drop off some of this stuff over here. I am Das Wolf says, Joe, you're the personification of joy. The court case with Doc was hilarious. Thank you. I'm so glad you enjoyed it. I legitimately, I spent about 2 weeks preparing for that, kind of on a broad strategy standpoint. And then I spent 2 or 3 days before that, like, really kind of trying to figure out exactly how I wanted to approach it. Arguably, this is overthinking it. This is something I am often guilty of. But I put a lot of preparation into that court case. And there's a few things. No, I am not streaming on the 4th of July. Does it say that? Does it say that on the calendar? Oh, we need to fix that. Does it say that? Okay. Yeah, let's fix that right now. Thank you for letting me know. Calendar. Okay. Now, is that going to remove all instances of my Thursday night streams? Yes, it will. That's the stupid thing. I'll fix that later. But yeah, I'll take whatever. It's fine. Okay. gravel and coal and stuff can go over here. Bum bum bum. Gravel and coal. La da 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 da. La da 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 da. Okay. Granite for pearl. Okay. Welcome, Josh. Okay, and we are also going to go repair our gear real quick, since my elytra is about to die, and so is my everything else. And then we'll wrap up the stream after we've repaired my gear. Okay. NJ, we would be really glad to have you join us for PlayOnCon next year. That is one of the things that I'm most regretful about in terms of the immigration visa schedule, is that my fiance, Badger Spanner, cannot join us for PlayOnCon this year. Because Badger and NJ had a fun time hanging out last time that they were both able to attend. And I'm sure Badger would look forward to seeing you again. We're going to drop down here. Andrew Webb says, are you a permanent fixture at PlayOnCon? Well, I've attended every year since PlayOnCon 2. And I've run the Minecraft build contest and the table flipping contest for probably half of them or more. I don't know. I feel like I've been, I don't know. I don't think it's my place to say if I'm permanent or not. I feel like that's up to the organizers to decide if I'm a permanent fixture. But most years, I run events at PlayOnCon. Like, let's see, I've been judging the build contest since Corinne was literally a baby. I was carrying Corinne around in, like, the front chest carrier. So that would have been 10 years ago. So yeah, I guess I've been running the build contest for at least 10 years and running the table flipping for almost as long. Otterwater says, I want to have you sign my TCG card a second time. I don't want to be able to read it anymore. That's funny. Okay. Let's check, see if any last minute tips have rolled in. Doesn't look like it. Let's check the following tab of Twitch to see who is live. Is this Elvira's House of Horrors? Well, I think we have to raid Hot Nudge. They are playing the pinball machine Elvira's House of Horrors, which inspired my Minecraft house from last season. When you get over there, our raid message is, howdy y'all, Joe Hills raid here. And until next time, y'all, this is Joe Hills from Nashville, Tennessee. Keep adventuring. Stop